graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Well, I guess what I learned this week is that if someone tells you that you're beautiful and that they love you, chances are they're just trying to brainwash you into being happy. Don't let them.
Well, I guess what I learned is, if you're gonna reach for a star, reach for the lowest one you can.
I've learned you can do anything you want as long as you put your mind to it. But I've also learned that reading is bad. If I hadn't learned how to read, none of these people in the bus would have been hurt. So don't read or write. It's deadly.
I guess what I learned most of all was that you should always take responsibility for your actions, unless you don't have to.
Well, I guess what I learned this week is that you can be rich in friends or family or love, but the only thing that matters is being rich in money. Before I came here, I thought Indian culture had to do with ethnic pride, respect for nature, and fighting for the return of rightful lands. But I now know that being an Indian is about scalping, drinking, and gambling. What I have learned is that the sexier you are, the more freedom you deserve. I guess what I learned this week is that only losers do drugs, unless it helps you win. And in that case, only winners do drugs.
I guess what I learned this week is that violence really isn't the only way to resolve a conflict, but it's the only way to win it.
Never encourage the handicapped. It'll only get them hurt.
Stay the fuck at home.
Your podcast will fail.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And long-term listeners of the show, people that follow us on Facebook will know, of course, it's been about a month, a little less than a month since our last episode, but it's because I have had a death in the family, I guess would be the closest way to put it. Doing this episode, it's going to be a little weird because, usually I'm always being silly or angry or and don't get me wrong, I do have stuff in the notes. I mean, there is a lot of stuff to cover from the past month, but I guess we're going to start off a little serious, if that, if you guys would oblige me for that, for the long-term fans. And I'm pretty sure, and I'm really surprised, Paul, that I haven't gotten an Oscar letter, since the death in the family. It's been about 2 to 3 weeks, and I know Oscar.
Now that you said something, you're going to get an Oscar.
Yeah,
letter.
I mean, I know Oscar likes to kick me. I don't know if he's doing the classy thing and not kicking me when I'm down, or whatever, But usually Oscar and for people listening to the show, and I'm pretty sure for any new listeners or people who didn't realize I had a podcast and this is the first episode that they're checking out. The person that passed away was Layla, my daughter's mother. And, for years and years and years, and it's going to be weird, for people that have known, for the length of this podcast, for years and years and years, we bashed each other. We had a very antagonistic, animosity-filled relationship, as, most, people that, and I hate to, I'm going to use the words, but I don't exactly like the words, but when you have a baby mama and baby daddy situation, it's sort of that's the stereotype, that, they hate each other. And we have, neither one of us are angels, on this situation, when it came to the stuff that happened between us. I've never had such a relationship with any woman in my life as I did with Layla. What I'm saying? We had, we both spent the night in jail because of each other. We both have went to court because of each other. I've had.
I'm drinking water right now. Continue.
Slashed tires, broken windows, broken laptops, broken PlayStation, black eyes, cuts, bumps, bruises, abrasions, all types of shit. And it's sort of right towards the end, and I won't go into the details of her passing because that's really none of anybody's business. And I know a lot of people, that's like the first question. Like when I kind of put stuff like that, people are like, what happened? And it kind of puts me in this weird position because it's really none of their business. And I understand that people are curious, and and she did have a long term. I mean, people who've been listening to the show for years, she had long term, and I mean years. I mean, even before I met her, and I've known her for the past 14 years. She has had a long standing battle with addiction, and and yes, that was involved with her passing. And so, and it's really weird because the last few weeks before she passed, things between her and I, it was so weird. Like every year we would always have. It was always kind of funny. Right around my birthday, right around June, at the beginning of the summer, her and I would always kind of have like this weird ceasefire where, we'd get along, and it would be like the olden days, or I mean, even when we were together, I mean, there was fucking issues, but we'd be a lot more friendly towards each other. And then as the summer went on, then we'd start, bumping heads, and and that's because there were things that she didn't agree with, and and like I said, look, I'm not fucking pointing any fingers because I'm no angel either, and I'm the first to admit that, and it just seems really, I had lost my friend Jimmy back in 2007, and it's so weird that like someone now, and and at least like Jimmy. I mean, Layla had his struggles, but my friend Jimmy, like, he had brain cancer, and, he had a brain tumor that came back. They operated on it once, they operated on a second time, and then they basically told him, we don't operate a third time. So, like, when it came to Jimmy, like, we kind of knew that, barring a miracle, that he was going to pass. Jimmy died like 3 days after my birthday, so it's sort of weird. We kind of passed, I mean, not if you want to call it an anniversary, but the anniversary of his death, and I remember like on my birthday, the year he passed, and Jimmy was the guy that like introduced me to all kinds of nerdy shit. And I had said, man, for my birthday, I want to go to fucking Medieval Times. And I said, dude, I'll pay for your ticket and everything. Just fucking, let's go to Medieval Times. And, cause there was one in Jersey, and I was living in New York at the time, and, like, he was that sick, and you could tell he was sick for him to say no to fucking going to Medieval Times. And this thing with Layla, it was sort of, like, I guess, I've always had it in the back of my head that, like, shit can pop off at any minute. Something bad can happen to her at any minute. Even, like, her friends had said that they were expecting it to be like a DUI, like a car crash sort of deal, because when there was substance abuse, she was very you couldn't tell her no, you can't drive. You know what I'm saying? And she was very hard-headed about that. And a lot, even like I said, even her friends thought, oh, we thought if you were going to go, it was going to be, because you drove your car off the road, hit a tree, or went through a red light or something like that. And it is kind of it is a shock, because she was slowly getting her life together. I mean, look, okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat. I mean, yes, things were kind of spiraling out towards the end. Let's keep it real. But she was also working. She was doing DoorDash, and so she was kind of working. And for someone, and like I said, look, I've known the girl 14 years. I've never known her to hold down a job more than like a month, And she used to work she worked in Taco Bell, and, she's done a couple odds and ends here and there. But, she was working where she was kind of, she was bringing in money, and there's that, for some people just don't fucking work, but, when you're bringing home your own money and you're kind of taking care of their bills with the money that you're making, there's, for someone who like hadn't done it ever, there's a sense of pride that comes with that. And, so she was, I don't know, like I said, things were kind of spiraling in one direction, but she was kind of trying to get her life in order. And so, like I said, this is obviously all of a sudden, and now boom, I made a post about, now I'm a single dad. And even though I kind of like, in the back of my mind, I always kind of was anticipating this day, I was like, cause I was always worried that, something was going to catch up to her, and whether it, I thought it would be maybe, other than a car, fucking kidneys fail or something like that. I thought, something, like, part of her body would, she'd have something with her lungs or her heart or something, where something biologically would fail, the good thing about her passing, to the best of my knowledge, is that, she didn't die painfully. It wasn't like she wasted away or anything like that. There was always kind of, there's always that kind of worry of you catching something. So at least, like, she didn't suffer her last days, other than the just the suffering from addiction, but, it wasn't like there was this long drawn out, thing that, it wasn't this long drawn out suffering. Now, years and years and years ago, I think in between hosts, before you came on, Paul, I did an episode with her, and it's called Broken Ankle. And then, like, I remember Oscar, even back in those days, like, wrote, and he fucking, Oscar fucking hated her. And she was, I think she was fucking, she was high and during the recording of that episode, so she was a little fucking goofy. And, but I mean, at least I could say before, she passed it, I did at least one episode with her.
I think we put the rule in a long time ago. Don't bring girlfriends on the podcast.
Yeah, the episode was called Broken Ankle because she had told the story about how when she was like, she was a teenager, she was playing like softball and she slid into one of the bases and fucking like broke her ankle while she was sliding. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that episode's out on YouTube. So, it is she is a little giggly and goofy during the episode, but and also just keep in mind that, like, she didn't want to record an episode with me, but I was like in between hosts and I was like, fucking record with me, goddammit. So, just keep in mind that she didn't want to do the episode.
I was just gonna say, I'm a lot of people are probably that listen to this podcast are friends with Chris on Facebook, and I'm sure some of you have been like, some of you that know the situation between Layla and Chris, and we're not going to get into that. We, the real people that are in his life, have this all situated. We have this taken care of. Matter of fact, we were on for like an hour before we even started recording this podcast, and I was being real with you on the whole situation. It's just, the one thing that I appreciate Chris understanding is when I tell him something, I'm telling it from the heart, and I'm not trying to make him pissed off or have him run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He knows that I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat shit for him, because guess what? If I sugarcoat something, it's not going to do him any good. Okay? But, the most important part that's come out of this is, now you're a single father. And, dude, if you had a boy, this would be so easy for you. But a little girl, and the way that Raven is, oh man, you are in for a trip, my friend. I would go buy the gun now. I'd get some swords. I'll help you with. We'll stage a whole fucking Bad Boy like Bad Boy 2 scene. Is it bad? Yeah, it's Bad Boys 2 scene when the freaking that fucking first boyfriend. Yeah, that first boyfriend comes up. I would love to do that shit. I'd be like, who the fuck are you? Dude, Chris, give me the gun. No, just give me the gun. Dude, I've joked with my current girlfriend and girlfriends in the past that if I ever had a girl, it'd be over. I'd go get a gun. She ain't dating until she's 18. Fuck that. No. And if I found out she was dating before she was 18, she's gonna be grinding until she's 18. Hell no. Hell fucking no. I couldn't deal with that, dude. Like, I'd be like, listen, like, you are not dating any guys right now, because let's face it, people don't know what the fuck they want these days, and these young people don't know what the fuck they want. And in between all this shit, I turned 36, so we didn't get to have a podcast about that.
Oh, that's right.
So,
yeah, the last episode we recorded a couple days after my birthday, so happy. I forgot. I said on Facebook, but happy birthday.
Where's my shots, Chris? What the fuck?
Let's fucking go. I don't even know where the fuck's open that has alcohol.
No. I mean, we're still in fucking lockdown, technically. I mean, my job's still in lockdown. It's a movie theater, so I'm crossing my fingers within the next 4 weeks they're gonna open up movie theaters, because he seems to be phasing these other businesses in. So,
well, I had a little bit more, but I guess we can come back to that. But So they opened the malls the other day, at least in New York State, the malls were opened.
Yeah, they did.
And so what the hell's going on with that? What's in your experience?
Oh, the malls are open. The malls are open. So I don't share where I'm working. Some of you may already know because people slip, and I don't want to punch them for slipping. But
you would always mention the mall walkers.
I got too much. So there's mall walkers again. Don't worry. So what's weird about my movie theater being in the mall? My section of the mall is very slow. All the stores that people are going to are mainly in the middle of the mall. So it's very deceptive to look down the mall and not see anybody when you know that's just like a mirage, so to speak. Because the minute I turn that corner and I go down towards the food court, there's more people. And the first day that they were open, which was Friday, holy shit. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but there was a couple hundred people there that first day. And, you know, I'm going to give people credit. Everybody was fucking wearing masks. Everybody. And, I mean, it's mandated in the mall anyways. It's mandated by New York State that everybody has to wear a mask when they go into a store. So, you know, number one, that made me happy. But number two, what also made me happy is some of these stores that were actually open, because not all of them were ready to open on Friday. They had lines outside their store because they were only letting a certain amount of people in. Yeah. I'm sitting there going,
but now everyone's lining outside the store. It's trying to social distance. It was like, you know, you're gonna be blocking someone else's door.
And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of like, I don't really want to go in the mall and look at this, but you know, one of my bosses is like, yeah, because he was asking all of us that were in malls. He's like, yeah, you should go in and you know, let me know what you see and everything. And I'm just like, okay, because I had passed the mall because I was going to the post office just to make sure that nothing was left there. Now that the mall's open, they just throw it they just push it through the cage and it's in the theater. So I drive by and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? There was like at least like 30 to 50 people outside waiting to get in the food court. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, oh shit. And like the entrances that are right there for my theater, there was like about 10, 15 people waiting at each entrance. And I'm like, damn, did you guys miss the mall? Like, Jesus Christ. Lollipop Farm isn't there anymore. I'm guessing all the pet places probably won't be open because, you know.
Well, I mean, it's obviously, it's not essential. And also, like, because if they were only open in the mall and the mall was closed for that many months, I guess someone could technically come into work and feed the animals, but it's sort of like, you know, you're renting this place in the mall just to have.
I think when this happened, they took all the animals out, but it was cleaned out. That place is cleaned out now. So, but yeah, I mean,
right, is it pet adoption?
I don't know.
I guess pet adoption is not essential.
No. So, I mean, it's just interesting. Excuse me, that you know people really wanted to come back to the mall that badly. So, but I mean, here in Monroe County, our cases aren't that bad. And you know, it's just interesting because I feel like once my movie theater opens, dude, like we're gonna get hit with a lot of people. And I don't think my bosses are ready for that because we have a certain amount of payroll that we can use, and I'm like, I don't know about this. So
and since the last episode, I went to the drive-in, and both movies were. If nowhere is open, I'm not cheating. But I went to the drive-in, and it was two movies that were like, if I had Amazon Prime, I could watch it on Amazon Prime. It was My Spy with Bautista, and
they had that on the big screen,
and Knives Out and this was at the local in Rochester. It's the suburb called Avon, which most people would say Avon, but out here they pronounce it Avon, the same way most people would say Charlotte. Out here it's called Charlotte. And where most people say chili, they say chili. But out in Avon, I went to the drive, and that was like, I had literally, I had made a post on Facebook saying like, I want to go to the drive-in. And then my buddy called me, and like, I was like, he called me with just enough time, like, dude, if we leave right now, we could fucking make it to the drive-in. And it's more just for the, like, you know, I don't give a shit. Like, those are two, it was Knives Out and My Spy. And now, mind you, I didn't want to see Knives Out, And this is, and you know, it's kind of to bring it back sort of to a weird thing, is that like Layla had recommended it to me. She goes, "Oh, it's such a good movie, and you should go see it." And the funny thing is that like she like had things not happened the way they were. Like she was literally like she was about to give me like her Amazon Prime password, specifically so I can see Knives Out, you know. And I was goofing with her. I was like, I'm not gonna fucking, you know, that's directed by the guy who killed, you know, the Rian Johnson, the guy who killed Luke Skywalker. I don't want to support this guy or whatever. But like I said, I mean, I really, I wanted to get the fuck out the house, and at least like the drive-in does have the social distancing. You know, because you're in your fucking car, and you know, your car's not near, you know, like. Now, when we went, it was pretty fucking full. Like, because we got there we didn't get there late, but we were definitely like the second to last car, or the last car to actually drive into the parking lot. So we couldn't find, like, we found a spot, but it was sort of like, it wasn't a prime spot. And so the place was pretty full. You know, how they did it at this place is they usually have like a concession stand that you can walk into, and it's the same place that has the bathrooms and stuff. But what you do is you order the food on the website, like from your phone, you know, and then they'll send. Then like when, you know, like when, because we'd order like a pizza, because I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna splurge. So we'd ordered a pizza, and like, you know, then like they text you when the pizza's ready, and then you go walk over to the concession stand, and, you know, oh, the order, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I think they could just check your name. But so that's how they got it, where like, you know, you order the food from the website, you know, when it's done in the concession, which is also cool, because then it's also, you could order it while you're watching the movie, and then when it's ready, you know, you can go and get it. And like, I just so happened to, like, I ordered it. It was like, fuck it, I timed it perfectly, because like our order was ready, like right in between, because it was double feature, so, you know, it's right in between the movies. You know, we went and grabbed our pizza, and you know, the movies were okay. I mean, you know, I liked My Spy. It was kind of cute for a family flick. I mean, Knives Out, you know, I guess you know, the twist was kind of interesting and stuff like that. I still don't want to support Rian Johnson. Even though I guess I technically did. But, you know, it was also just sort of, I just wanted to get the fuck out the house. But yes, I did go to, the drive-in in Avon for the, you know, but I've, you know, the other day I was helping out a friend with something, and we ended up going to Five Guys Burgers and Fries or whatever, and, they had it where, like, I mean, because they had outside seating, I mean, you could sit inside and eat, or outside and eat, and like, since I gave my friend needed to take care of some stuff, so I drove him around, so he was like, you know, let me, you know, to pay you back, let me buy you lunch or whatever. So we went to the Five Guys, and we sat outside at the Five Guys. So that place, it's weird, like, what places are opened, like, because like, I had it, you know, with the, unfortunately, with the death, I mean, all the stories are probably going to come back to the passing of Layla, but you know, there's paperwork that I needed to get faxed and not faxed, but copied and printed out and stuff like that. And like, it's weird that Staples is open. And I guess, like, I wouldn't have thought Staples is an essential business, but it is, I guess, you know, like, it's weird. Like, automatically I wouldn't have thought Staples to be essential. I mean, I needed them to be open, but, you know, luckily they were open. And not in the same plaza, but that same part of town. I needed I needed a headphone cord, like the one, as I'm talking to you right now, I have a brand new headphone cord. So I read, you know, that store Five Below. So I ran into the Five Below, and oh my god, like, I mean, I was wearing my mask, because I needed a cord. I mean, yeah, I could order one online, but I mean, if I'm right fucking there, let me just run into the store. But like, Five Below was fucking packed. Like, I was not, like, I had my mask on and I was trying my best to, like, social distance. And of course, like, it's also my fault because I kind of wanted to browse. You know, we kind of shit we kind of take for granted. And usually I would curse somebody out, like, you're going to go to a fucking store and browse, get your shit and get the fuck out, asshole. But I became a person I hated, where, like, I went in and I bought the cord, because I knew I needed a cord and I knew that I could get a relatively cheap one there. And then, you know, then you kind of, you know, we're sort of like, you know, we're such fucking consumers that, like, you know, I'm kind of like browsing, but I'm also realizing, God damn, this fucking store, you know, it's hard to social distance when the place is fucking packed. But yeah, I ran into the Five Below. So it's so weird that, like, what stores are, what counts as, like, essential business, what's not essential, you know, because neither Five Below nor Staples would I would assume to be non-essential, but, you know, other places are still closed. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, like, the fucking, and the GameStops are open, cause Raven was asking me, my daughter was asking me for a video game, and.
Yeah, the GameStop was open. I mean, if they're not in the mall, they were open.
Yeah,
but
because like Raven wanted to get Minecraft or whatever, and it was like, and it's weird, like fucking motherfuckers, Minecraft. How is it $30 for a physical copy, but $20 on the PlayStation on the PlayStation Network? But I like physical copies because I'm an old man. I don't want to have my world dictated by downloads. But like, the GameStop was open. It's I don't know what fucking criteria. Or I mean, I guess as long as I guess if people wear masks and they don't allow. As long as you don't let the store get past. But that Five Below, not for nothing. And I don't want to, put them on blast or anything like that, but I don't think... Because then again, those stores are so understaffed as it is. You go to Five Below and, like, there's a part of you... I come from New York City and I used to work in retail where you like, people can steal from this place, like, it's so easy. And so, like, I'm like, if there's maybe 3 people in the store and the store's packed, it's not like there's not like someone could man the door and say, like, oh, please... hold on until, whatever number, we can't have more than 20 people in the store. The people are too busy running the registers and shit like that. And there's certainly no one walking around making sure we're not stealing. So, I come from New York, so I kind of always have that in the back of my head, like people could be stealing crazy right now in the store, cause, there's 3 people working there. But like, yeah, so the Five Below was pretty fucking packed. Let me see. So, let me see. Let's talk about, I guess we could talk about other things. I mean, I had more Layla stuff to talk about, but,
Well, dude, I think you've kind of hit the nail on the coffin. I'm sure you'll talk about it a little bit more on here, but, it's, I don't know. I think it's time to move on because you got your daughter to look at this point.
Yeah.
So.
And it's like, I mean, I guess that's the whole thing is that, like, it's so weird that, like, I'm a single parent. And of course, it was mailed a while back, but I get that thing in the mail, like, to pay child support. And I'm like, I guess I don't have to pay child support anymore. I had made the joke about that a couple months ago about, that even in the pandemic, there's places are closing, but you better make sure you pay that fucking child support. That came in the mail. And it's so weird, like, usually, like, people are protected, for the lack of a better term, like, if someone passes or whatever, like, I mean, like, I have, like, my pension from the state, when I worked for the state for 10 years, and, like, if I died, my daughter's gonna get a couple of bucks. I mean, she's not gonna be fucking, wealthy or anything like that, but, she'll have enough money to put me in the ground.
Such a bad father. This is starting.
No, but I'm just saying is that. Well, I mean, my life was thrown for a fucking loop. If had things gone, had my ex-wife not cheated on me, and then and this other, there's this other passing, unfortunately, I put my faith in the wrong women, and not to disparage Layla. I'm just saying, is this the truth?
Welcome to the introduction of how women treat people.
Yeah, I'm saying is, it's not like for the lack of trying, I've tried to meet the right women and stuff like that, and so my life has been, I'm doing this shit by myself. Ain't nobody fucking helping me. I'm not getting any fucking, no one's paying my fucking bills. I mean, my family, my parents do what they, my parents would throw me a couple bucks on my birthday and Christmas because, it's better to give me money than fucking, than to buy me some gift that I'm never going to fucking use. Instead of the guesswork of buying me something that, that's going to sit on a shelf and collect dust. My parents just give me fucking cash, but that's not paying my bills for the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's fucking supporting me. And it's so weird that, like, with the passing, it's like, boom, that's it. That's your kid. Go right ahead. And I'm really fucking torn up of, like, do I stay in Rochester? Like, do I take my daughter away from her brother and sister? Or, do I stay in Rochester when I have, like, because my job, before the pandemic and all this shit, my job was, I work from home anyway. And, I could do as long as I have an internet connection to my cell phone, I can be anywhere. I could be in, Guam if I needed to. I could do my job anywhere. So it's sort of weird. Like, I'm in this weird fucking, like, limbo right now where, like, I don't know what to do with my daughter. And then, she had kids after me. And luckily, me and him, get along, you know, and I don't want to say, you say baby daddy, and that's such a fucking, you know, that's such a disrespectful term, and I don't mean it to be disrespectful, but, you know, the father of the other two kids, him and I get along, and our kids are half brothers and sisters, so, you know, him and I get along, but, like, you know, what do we do? What if he wants to move? What if he says, fuck it, I want to go move 3 states away or some shit like that?
Well, guess what? Your girl ain't going.
No. He has no claim. And actually, like, him and I have kind of unofficially kind of said, you know, I don't think he's gonna, you know, he's not gonna challenge. He's not gonna challenge for custody of my daughter or anything like that. Because, like, I mean, not that he has a leg to stand on, but I don't, you know, it's not like he's like, you know, oh, they're all my kids and they're gonna stay with me. That's not the vibe that we have right now. But, like, you know, the part of me is like, you know, maybe I should go back to New York City or find some place that's, like, inexpensive to live and you know, like, you know, just do, like, the, you know, okay, you get to see your brother and sister every couple months or some shit. You know, like, it's, and I hate to split up the fucking family, but it's also, you know, I have to look out for number one. And I'm in this weird fucking limbo where, you know, I was forced to live in Rochester because I wanted to raise my daughter. And now, I mean, you know, everybody else that's in her life are people that she can literally just visit. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one person giving care. And you know, and her friends, like, at the memorial service, her friends are, you know, particularly her best friend was just like, you know, we're worried you're just going to take Raven and run away to New York City. And I'm like, well, I'm a bit of a dick, but I'm not that much of a dick. You know, I definitely wouldn't take her away from her brother and sister, you know, or take her, you know, like, you're never going to see her brother and sister again. And also, not to mention that, you know, her brother and sister, one's a toddler, one is preschool age. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't grasp the gravity of the situation. And of course they know their sister and love their sister, but, you know, it's not like, you know, if they never saw their sister again, it's not like their life is going to be changed. And not that I plan to, I'm just saying is, you know, they're too young to really grasp, what they've lost and stuff like that. And so, you know, I'm like, you know, I don't know where to transition my life from here. You know, it's like, you know, I've been bumping heads with my fucking landlord. You know, I mean, we're in the middle of the pandemic and stuff like that, so I don't know exactly, you know, you know.
Yeah, that makes it harder to even go down. I mean, go down to, like, New York City.
And, you know, but then there's also the part of me like, you know, what if Raven was raised in New York City? There's also that part. Like, I mean, Rochester's a pretty diverse city, but, like, I mean, but New York City just is. But then again, New York City's so gentrified now. So I'm like, where the, you know, do I go through the fucking headache of moving to the city, or have to circle the block for 45 minutes to find a parking spot, or, you know, do I stay in Rochester where, you know, I could park my car in the same place every day and, you know, never gets bothered. You know, I'm in a weird fucking place right now, and like, you know, the world is my fucking oyster. I mean, if, you know, I'm still broke and shit, but I'm just saying is, you know, I can move to the middle of the fucking state if I wanted to. You know, I could fucking buy a fucking shack in the middle of fucking, you know, bumfuck upstate New York and live dirt fucking cheap. You know, I mean, I don't want my daughter being raised around fucking rednecks and shit like that, but I'm saying is, hypothetically, it's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? I can, you know, if I wanted to fucking move to fucking Los Angeles or some shit like that, like, you know, I mean, Los Angeles is expensive also, but I'm just saying is, you know, if I wanted to uproot my daughter, there's literally no one that can stop me. You know, and it's this weird, it just puts me in this weird fucking position where I don't know what the fuck to do with my life right now. And so it's still...
No, it's, you know, me and you have kind of had that conversation. It's, you know, it's very hard for you to, you know, kind of, it's not hard. It's just, you have a unique situation now where you can do pretty much anything you want to fucking do at this point. You could take your kid and go down to New York City, but then the whole pandemic's going on, so now, you know, does it make sense to go down? Well, it's funny. City?
It's like, you know, I get reached out and like, you can go live with your mom now. And then I go and I call my mom, and my mom's like, yeah, you could stay here, but why don't you try to figure something else for yourself? Like, you know, my mom was like, like if I impose, absolutely, she'll let me move in with her and stuff like that. But she's also like, maybe you should try to work something. And also, I'm a grown fucking man. I can't be living with my fucking mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, you know, I'm a grown man with a child. things are already crazy enough as it is, instead of like, oh yeah, by the way, you know, be quiet when you get to my apartment because I don't want to wake my mom up. I mean, that's not fucking cool anymore. You know, I'm a grown fucking man. I'm 42 years. I'm 43. I forgot my birthday passed. Yeah, I'm 43 years old. I mean, that's not the fucking move to be living with mommy. You know. So I think we've reached the halfway point of this episode. Is there anything you want to throw in before we go back from the break? All right. No. I mean, I have some other stuff on the other side of the break that we can talk about. And we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this movie.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
all popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was going to be a rough.
How could you watch this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Victory Championship Wrestling presents Lethal Leap Year, on sale now for $9.99. Don't miss a single body slam or epic moment. Witness the showdown between Big Smooth and Johnny Slaughter for the BCW Championship. Go to bcwaction.com for exclusive events. Only found on bcwaction.com. And as an added bonus, the first 100 people to order this event will receive a free front row seat to the next event.
And we're back. All right, Paul. So even though like we were kind of talking like personal stuff, I mean, there's the nerdy news is sort of weird. We're in this weird position where there's, the nerdy news, there isn't really much to talk about in the nerdy news. Okay, I got Michael Keaton coming back to, if they do a Flash movie with Michael Keaton coming back as Bruce Wayne / Batman, that would be pretty interesting. In a world where we have, Into the Spider-Verse and the possibility of multiverses, I guess would be the best way to put it. People already understand the idea of multiverse. So, I love the idea of having Michael Keaton come back. But it's not Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's Batman. But, you can have a multiverse where Michael Keaton is the Batman. If Flash is going to different timelines and different universes and stuff like that, he can visit Michael Keaton. So that's like one of the big news that hits and stuff. Because the last episode we already talked about releasing the Snyder Cut. There's a new Batwoman for the CW show. I forgot her name, but basically, the guys that are very anti-politically correct are going to lose their fucking minds because it's a black woman, the actress that's going to, guys were already pissed off because they had a lesbian playing Batwoman. Well, I guess I think the actual Batwoman in the comics is a lesbian, but they didn't like that actor, Ruby Rose, and now they got a black woman playing Batwoman, a black woman playing Batwoman, and the guys are probably losing their fucking mind. But then, they're also talking about a show for HBO Max, which is going to be about Gotham PD and Jim Gordon, but once again, not touching Batman, like not using Batman. And you know what? I'm getting fucking sick and tired of, I think the Harley Quinn cartoon doesn't really count, because even though it's about Batman, like it's in the Batman universe, and it's not starring Batman, but like, between like Gotham and like remember they had that show Krypton, and Krypton didn't have anything to do with Superman. And like years ago we had Smallville, where it's like Superman, but it's not Superman. Batwoman. And I think, like, in Batwoman, the first season, there was a storyline involving, like, Bruce Wayne. Like, they're looking for Batman / Bruce Wayne. I never watched that show, but, like, could we stop having shows about Batman and Superman that don't have Batman and Superman in them? I'm getting, stop with the bullshit. Stop giving us. Yeah. I don't give a shit about a show about Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, or when he's like Captain Gordon, Lieutenant Gordon, or whatever. It's a crime show. That's all it is. Ooh, there might be the Penguin or the Joker or some shit. Who gives a shit? It's like, that's Gotham all over again. That's all Gotham was about Jim Gordon and a young Bruce Wayne. So, like, as for the nerdy news, there really isn't much, other than, just when the time comes,
It's very quiet out there.
Because, 20, you had mentioned before the episode, like, it's like, 2020 sucks balls, but if 2021, if things continue on the right path and people fucking follow basic fucking hygiene and basic fucking rules about wearing a mask and stop crying like little fucking bitches, when guys go hunting and they wear fucking head to toe camouflage and they smear themselves in fucking deer urine, and they can do that shit for fucking 16 hours, going hunting at fucking 4 a.m. to hunt deer and shit. You can wear a mask in Walmart for 45 minutes. So, and now there's all the, do you think the mask, if the mask isn't, if you can smell something while you're still wearing a mask, do you really think it's going to stop COVID? No, but it's going to stop people from spitting when they talk.
So here's my thing about that. So, do you notice that a lot of people in New York State wear masks?
Yeah, I gotta say that people at least in my, now mind you, I don't go out that often, but in my experience, you see a couple of knuckleheads. What I see is, I see people who go into the store with their mask, and I think they wear the mask to go in the store and not get like bothered or stopped at the door. And then I think once they get in the store, because I see them when they leave, they have their mask off. Like, or maybe they got uncomfortable and they took it off, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, and I'm talking about, out of dozens and dozens and dozens of people that I've seen maybe 2 or 3 people not wearing their mask, where like, they have a mask. It's like hanging off their face or hanging around their neck or some shit like that. They went in the store with the mask, just, through the course of being in the store, their lives are inconvenienced to the point where they took it off. But go on, I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say, like, because we're all wearing masks, we're doing what we're supposed to do. So it's like, what do you need to do? What do you guys down in these other southern states need to do? You need to do what you're supposed to do, and make it so that way we're not gonna die because you idiots can't do your you can't wear a fucking mask. We see on this constant basis these people being Karens and Kens and trying to, you know what I mean? Like, just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. If they would, we wouldn't have a problem. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So.
Well, okay, here's one thing, and it's going to sound funny. Wear your fucking masks, people. That's okay. And now that I've said that, I think there's also people who need to mind their fucking business. Okay, if you work at the store, or even if you're in the store and you're a person shopping at the store, and someone walks into the store and they're not wearing a mask, okay, you might, you have, a right to tell the person, could you put on your mask or whatever the case may be. Even though, like, cause, did you see the video about the guy, and he's like really aggressive and he's like flexing his muscles and he's like, get away from me, I feel threatened. And he was like a real estate guy.
He had like a red shirt on.
And he was wearing a shirt that said, America ruling the world since 1776. Now, in that particular video, it was because, like, now mind you, he was already having a conversation with, like, people at the store. And there was someone, you know, with their cameras in the guy's face, filming him, you know, like, not wearing a fucking mask. And see, like, shit like that, like, people, the person taking that video was, I feel they're being a fucking asshole. You know what I'm saying? And as much as I agree with the sentiment of wear a fucking mask, get your fucking camera, get your phone out of people's fucking faces. And once again, this guy's an asshole. He got fired, and all this other shit. You know, I guess, you know, I don't want to say he deserves to get fired, but you know, he created a fucking scene, and that looks bad for his company. So, you know, there's you know, a company could get rid of you, and this is a capitalist society, and the company can get rid of you any fucking time because they're not gonna let you make their company look bad, because that's exactly what happened. He was working for some real estate company, and it hit Twitter in a heartbeat. You know, oh, this guy works at such and such real estate company, and the real estate company said, oh, "Fuck you, buddy." You know what I'm saying? We got 30,000 people that, you know, that will work here in a heartbeat. That, you know, we don't need you sullying our name. And, you know, and of course it's a little fucked up. But my point is, my whole point is the person who had the camera, that camera didn't need to be in the guy's face. Approaching someone with a camera, and it's not your fucking job. Let the people who run the store talk to the guy. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the people who work in the store already were talking to the guy. And then you're gonna walk up on somebody with the camera. And did I tell you the story about my neighbor that got hit with a bat?
No.
This was shit. I can't believe. Well,
why do you gotta hide shit? What the hell?
No, it was no. Remember, it was the day of the protests here in Rochester, and there was a car crash in front of my house. And so what happened was one car hit the other, and so the car that hit, the car that got hit had a guy, a girl, and a baby. The people that hit them was a car full of girls. And I think I could have sworn I told the story where, when they, apparently, you know, even though after the accident someone might have called the cops, not a cop showed up because they were all caught up with the protests that were going on. This was right when you know, the whole Floyd thing was going down. And that's when fucking, right. they literally had like a police car set on fire outside the fucking, police department. That afternoon, there was a car crash in front of my house, and so the car that got hit, that guy, I guess what had happened was, and I could only tell from what I saw from the window, the guys in the car that got hit must have asked the girls who hit them, okay, we're going to have to fucking exchange insurance information. And I think the girls in the car said, we don't have insurance. And that guy lost his shit. He pulled out a bat and he started smashing the girl's car. And he got on the roof of the car, jumping up and down, like purposefully jumping in the air, landing like to stomp his feet to cave in the fucking hood of the car, which it wasn't caved in like whatever, but he made giant fucking dents, smashed in all the fucking windows, was hitting the trunk and stuff like that. Now, my neighbor, genius as he is, he's like 5 feet away from the guy, holding his cell phone, taping the guy. That guy goes and hits my fucking neighbor with a bat. And like, not for nothing, you could have sat because, you know, it's the summertime, people sit out on the porches and stuff like that. You could have sat at your fucking porch and taken all the fucking video you liked, you know, and you know, there was no reason, and I don't want to say that was justified. My neighbor didn't deserve to get hit with a bat, but you know what? He deserved to get hit with a fucking bat. You know what I'm saying? If you got a guy raging with a bat, and you walk up with your fucking cell phone filming him, you're provoking an angry fucking person. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to blame the victim, but you know what I'm saying? Don't, obviously, because people record everything. You know, the minute something comes out, 50 fucking phones come out. There's no reason to walk right up to the fucking guy and be like 5 feet away with the fucking cell phone. You know, and I'm not saying it was justified this guy hit my fucking neighbor, but I bet he's gonna fucking second guess the next time some shit's going on in front of him. And mind you, and I hate to put it like this, the guy's, he was just destroying property. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was hitting someone if he was hitting a person with a bat, you know, okay, fine. That's, you know, the girls had run out of the car, and the guy was just, you know, the guy was going, you know, ranting and raving. And so, you know, my point being is you know, yes, we all have to, you know, you should put pressure on people who aren't wearing the masks, but, you know, you're also putting yourself in fucking harm's way if you run up to someone with a fucking cell phone in your hand trying to shame them into fucking wearing a mask. And then, like, a friend of mine, and we were talking about this also, he's a cop. And, you know, he was out in the street, and he's just standing there, and he was smoking a cigarette. Okay, not the smartest thing to fucking do. And then a person walks by him in the street and says, you know, you really should have your mask on. But one, he's smoking a fucking cigarette. And, you know, and once again, not the smartest thing in the world. But, you know, also, like, he was in you know, and I believe him, he was in a place where he was by himself, you know, smoking a cigarette. The person just happened to walk by. And it's like, that's like, you know, like when guys tell women, oh, you should smile. You know what I'm saying? It's none of your fucking business. If a person's out there without a mask, and they're not walking into the store. And now, mind you, the person that told him this is the person that was walking away from him. You know, like they said it as they passed him. You know, people learn to mind your fucking business. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, shit's gonna you're almost instigating a problem by telling someone to wear a fucking mask. And if you're not working at a store, and, you know, that's my whole point. Unless you're the person who's working in a store, you know, it's the store's responsibility to make sure that people wear masks in the store. And I understand, you know, that everyone wants to be a big fucking social justice warrior and go up to people, oh, you really should be wearing a mask. But you know what? You're gonna get fucking, you know, you could get hit with a fucking bat. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so, you're making me want to respond to all this, because first of all, well, okay, so, Do I think that somebody should be recording anything? No. I think that people need to keep their business to themselves and stop fucking recording everybody. But at the same time, that's the same thing as saying, like, these Black Lives Matter fucking people go into the DA's house here in Rochester and asking her to step down. I'm going to tell you something right now. What rubs me the wrong way is when fucking people go to somebody's house and start protesting. No, that crosses the line. You want to go to the DA's office and protest? Fine. Have your press conference there. Do whatever the fuck you want. That's public property. But when you step onto my property, that's when I call the police and have you removed. I would have called the police and had them removed.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the story, so I really can't comment. Go on.
So the local Black Lives Matter group here in Rochester, and by the way, this is leading into something I really want to talk about, and you're gonna, when you hear who one of the people is that's helping them, you're gonna be like,
well, I think I know where you're going with it. Go on, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. So basically, the DA here in Rochester, they wanted her to step down because her assistant, who made a racist comment, who was basically fired, made that comment. And I'm like, well, yeah, they got rid of him for making that comment. Rightfully so. Move on. No, we want her to step down. I'm like, okay. I'm just going to go over here now. Cause, you know, I feel like some of this stuff, and maybe you do too, goes a little too far. And so, and you know where I'm going with this, cause you saw me post this on Facebook the other day. Remember that drunk judge that's here in Rochester?
Leticia
Who's representing Black Lives Matter here, and who's a representative of that movement? Her. What the fuck are you doing? Oh, well, she's a lawyer. What do you mean? She's got an axe to grind, and by the way, she is not what you want for fucking to help you out. No.
Well, I think a little context for people who don't live in Rochester. There was a judge here in Rochester City Court, Judge Leticia Estacio, who got DUIs and was known drinking. You know, she would drink all the time, and usually, you know, in a situation like that, like with cops and stuff like that, you know, let's fucking keep it real here. There's the thin blue line where cop gets pulled over for drinking. You know, usually the cops would say, you know, just go home. She had gotten pulled over so many times that, I guess it finally got to the point where they said, look, we can't keep letting you fucking, be driving drunk.
Yeah.
You know, we gave you a chance to fucking, you know, get your shit in order. And she kept getting pulled over. Now that being said, then they finally gave her, the interlocking device, which I guess in this situation there was a camera that was attached to it.
No, so basically how it works is it monitors if you try to fuck with it, and she fucked with it.
Yeah, because it was saying that for some reason I was under the impression that it had a camera on it, and it's supposed to show you blowing. It's supposed to show you blowing into the machine, and conveniently there was a day where she was giving her daughter a ride, and the camera was pushed away. And the speculation was that she had her daughter blow into it. Who was fucking like a high school teenager or whatever, blow into it so she can get the car started. And she kept getting, and mind you, when all this is going on, she's still like collecting her fucking judge's pay, to sit on her ass. And, now that with that being said, and then like the court was like, there was another thing where they kind of told her, they were like, you have to do this amount of time, and she was like, no, fuck you, didn't throw me in jail or something like that. Like they had given her some sort of weird ultimatum, and she was just like, well then fuck you, throw me in jail. And she called their bluff, and she like, well no, she got locked up for a little while, because there are pictures of her like in a with the with the green, with the red, with the orange jumpsuit and stuff like that. And now since she is technically a judge, she's licensed with the Bar Association in New York. She can practice law, and from the time last year where Layla and I butted heads and I had to go to court, I was in the same courtroom with Leticia Stasio. She was defending like 2 or 3 people before my case. So like I've seen her in action. I'm sitting in the fucking courtroom, and it's so weird when you see someone on TV all the time and they're like right there in front of you. So I've been in the same courtroom as her, and so you're saying that she's representing the Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm. She was there with them in this round table, and I'm like, how the fuck? Like, what are you thinking when you see her and you're like, oh, well, she was oppressed. How was she oppressed? They kept giving her passes. I felt like they were literally handing her passes. Oh, slap on the wrist. Oh, slap on the wrist. Listen, we keep slapping you on the wrist. Can you stop this?
Yeah, and she basically said, fuck you every step of the way.
This has got to stop. Yeah, and she wouldn't do it. So that's when they were just like, listen, we're done with you. Like, now your judgeship is gone. Have a nice day. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day. Get the hell out. So, like, it's funny to me because it's like, what do you expect? What did you expect was going to happen? Like, did you honestly think that you were just going to get away with this? Like, no, that's not what was going to happen here. Like, you fucked up. Time for you to go bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And they, she just wouldn't listen, and it kills me because it's like, you got like 50 different chances. Like, how?
Well, I think the story was also that she was supposed to like not leave Monroe County, or at least let them know when she was to go to Monroe County, and she went like on a fucking trip to like the Caribbean.
Yes.
And there were like pictures of her on Instagram, like in a fucking bikini, and like with proof that she left. And but the Rochester, because like they folded, they could have fucking put her under the jail, and they still fucking the fact that she's out on the streets, she's walking the streets, is like, after saying fuck you so many times, just she keeps pushing her fucking luck. But yeah, I mean, I remember you mentioned, I did not know that she was representing like the Black Lives Matter people here, but. We were kind of
dude. Like it was the weirdest shit. Like I saw that and I'm like, what are you guys doing? No, like even if I explained it to Darrell would be like, yeah, that shouldn't be happening. Like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
how? Like, what was going through your head? Like, she would be a great representative for us. I would be like, fuck no, she wouldn't. Fuck no, she wouldn't. Get her the fuck out of here, because like this isn't gonna get you anywhere. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know. It just to me, man, it's just like, I don't know. I don't get
Gotcha.
it. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't.
All right. So I'm in a weird position because I want to boycott Goya. Are you familiar with where the president of Goya praised Donald Trump in a press conference, and then I think like when confronted, like doubled down and like really started praising Donald Trump, and Donald Trump hasn't exactly been fair to Puerto Ricans, and it's weird because I know I'm a fucking white boy, but I mean I got my Puerto Rican roots, and to see Puerto Rico, he dragged his feet when it came to getting aid to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. He called the governor of Puerto Rico all types of fucking nasty names, and then when they finally actually did get aid to Puerto Rico, and like he went himself, like he's doing like free throws with the paper towels and shit like that. Just be, like that was just disrespectful. And let's keep it fucking real. The average Trump supporter, we live in a city and we're used to being around, I'm a minority technically. When you're used to being around minorities, you get to learn the difference between a Puerto Rican and a Dominican and a Mexican and a Colombian and a Cuban. You get to learn the differences, the cultural differences. To a person like to the average Trump supporter, I guarantee you there's people who don't know the difference between a Mexican and a Puerto Rican. These are the people who tweeted like when Jennifer Lopez was performing at the Super Bowl, people saying go back to your country. When Jennifer Lopez is a Puerto Rican and Puerto Ricans are American citizens. When it was another one with Mark Anthony and people were like tweeting like go back to your country, and once again 100% Puerto Rican, 100% a US citizen. And actually, I had this in my notes also, my godfather and my godsister were victims of, I guess, and I don't want to say it wasn't a hate crime, but it was a fucking hate crime. My godfather and my godsister were outside playing dominoes. My godfather's in his late 80s, early 90s, playing dominoes with his daughter, and these people came up onto them, started cursing him out, calling them spics, telling them to go back to their fucking country. And this is in fucking New York. This is like about an hour north of New York City. This happened in. So like even like an hour north of New York, it's still. You have minorities an hour north of New York City. It's not like it's not like once you get north of the Bronx, shit shuts down. But now here's the fucked up. Now here's the real twisted part of it is that one, this happened like a couple days before the 4th of July, where we got these people calling other people spics and saying go back to your country. But these people don't fucking know is that my godfather and my godsister both worked for the fucking post office. My godfather, his entire career was working at the post office. And my godfather, who's an old man, he used to love playing basketball. If you saw the fucking calves on my godfather, he's old school, like, walking the fucking streets, delivering mail and shit. Like, my godfather's fucking, his calves look like Popeye's forearms, you know what I'm saying? And mind you, my godsister is she's at Amazon too. Like, these people must have been really fucking, my godsister is a tall woman who, I don't know what balls you think you're gonna fucking walk up to her and start talking shit, cause my godsister would probably whip their fucking ass, and she got her father out of the area, got him into the lobby of the building, and tried to like chase the people down. And so I don't know what these people must have been really fucking emboldened because, and then also also just keep the fact that you're attacking a woman and an old man. But to say go back to your own country when these people worked for their own country, the post office, you can't get more fucking, American. They were federal employees. Like I said, his entire career was working at the post office. I believe my godsister retired early, but that's only because she had like medical issues and stuff like that. Like she would have been with the post office longer if her body, which from working for the post office, she gave her body to the fucking post office, working for them for so many years. And so, it just shows that, that there's still fucking ignorance, and to tell Puerto Rican, and mind you, my godfather and my godsister are light as I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're light-skinned people, and I'm not trying to justify it, but I'm just saying, like, when you think Mexicans, you think someone with a little more olive complexion, stuff like that. My godsister, my godfather is fucking as white as I am. And are still being cursed at, being called spics and being told to go back to their fucking country, you know what I'm saying? And who's emboldening all that shit? So fucking Donald Trump saying, Mexicans they're rapists and they bring crime. To the average Trump supporter, they don't know the difference between a Puerto Rican and a Mexican. And we're all Mexicans. I'm from El Salvador. Oh, so you're from Mexico. I'm from Colombia. I'm from Chile. Oh, you're from Mexico. I'm from Brazil. No, you mean Mexico? No, these people, everyone south of fucking Texas is Mexican. And Mexican's a beautiful, wonderful, large country. Puerto Rico's an island in the Caribbean. This little island just floating around, just sitting there minding its own fucking business. But you're telling a whole group of people they're from Mexico, which is a fucking insult. And if I went to those people and I said, oh, why don't you go back to Kentucky? I'm from Alabama. Well, same difference, right? Like, it's this, it's like, they get pissed off if you confuse them, like, go back to Memphis, oh, I'm from Texas. So fuck, like, they could easily be lumped in. And I know earlier we kind of said, like, southern states and shit like that. But I mean, if you look at the fucking highest cases of COVID in the United States, like the three highest right now are like Florida, I want to say Alabama, Florida's like number one. But I mean, the top three are all southern states. So I mean, even though, yes, okay, earlier this episode we lumped the southern states when it comes to, not following the lockdown and having the highest COVID numbers, but the numbers speak for themselves. They're southern states. So, so I want to boycott Goya. But that being said, my dad's cousin, if I'm not mistaken, which I guess makes her my second cousin, who lives in Puerto Rico, had made a post today, and it kind of made me step back. And she's like, "Yeah, Goya has fucking factories in Puerto Rico, and it's so weird that and her point is like, go right ahead and boycott Goya if you like, but also keep in mind that if you boycott Goya, keep in mind they also have factories that employ hundreds, if not thousands, of Puerto Ricans." And I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm in a weird conundrum. I don't know what to do, whether to boycott Goya as a matter of principle, or do I take jobs away from Puerto Ricans. So I don't know. I'm in a weird fucking situation. I have more pressing issues to deal with, like raising my daughter. But in the grander scheme of things, I also have other, like, do I support Goya? Do I boycott them?
I'm surprised you're not boycotting them.
I mean, shit, I got their fucking products in my house, man. I mean, I got my adobo. I can't cook without adobo. But then again, it doesn't have to be Goya brand. I could just put any fucking adobo. A sazon, I put a sazon on everything, so after.
By the way, I saw that you were trying to give Darrell the recipe. It's kind of funny.
Well, actually, no, Darrell was giving me the recipe. Yeah.
Oh, was he?
What's the funny thing? And the funny thing, like adobo, like we make a joke, like adobo is like, it's an all-around seasoning, what I'm saying? And it's got the salt, and it's got the pepper, and it's got the onion, the garlic powder and all the shit. But then it goes like turmeric. I'm like, what the fuck is turmeric? And cumin. What the fuck is cumin? Like, shit, now I have to go to Walmart and like, turmeric. Okay, here's some turmeric. Okay, here's some cumin. And it's like, it takes me 2 seconds to buy a thing of adobo. But there's another big popular brand. It's one called Badia, Badia. So Badia makes adobo. So I don't, it's not like I can throw my money in their direction. But like I said, I'm stuck in the middle. I don't know if I should boycott them as a matter of principle, or understand that they employ hundreds, if not thousands, of Puerto Ricans. Do I don't know where I go with that, but just throwing that out there. And have you watched the Hamilton? I don't know. Do you have Disney Plus?
I kind of watched it the other day.
Obviously, it's a big money project, and Disney Plus paid a lot of fucking money for it. It is kind of weird that it comes out now where it's because Hamilton, like, there's not, besides like the guy who plays like the King of England, there's not one other white person in the show. Like, the whole show is all blacks and Hispanics, and it's funny to see that blacks and Hispanics are playing slave owners. George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Jefferson, all these people that, and I'm surprised they haven't used the word brown washing. like when they got like Scarlett Johansson to play like Ghost in the Shell, or where they call it whitewashing, where they take like a white actor that's typically Asian, or like when they had Tilda Swinton in Doctor Strange, when like she was playing like the Ancient One, and the Ancient One in the comics was always an Asian guy, and then they got fucking Tilda Swinton, like a white female actress, to fucking play him. So, they called that whitewashing. So now you got Alexander Hamilton and George Washington and Thomas Jefferson being played by black and Hispanic actors. I'm surprised no one's brought up the term brown washing, but it is kind of interesting, like, in the times that we are right now with like the protests and stuff like that, and people that are fighting for their rights and fighting for freedom and fighting for, fighting against oppression, are now being played by brown actors. I mean, not that he meant that on purpose, but it is kind of funny that, like, as Disney puts it out now, right, when you got George Floyd fucking protests in the streets, and then Hamilton comes on, and you got brown actors who are playing slave owners, but it kind of puts like an extra comment, like it makes it a special commentary about, that it's kind of this weird, ironic thing but it kind of gives it more like it gives it weight to the characters when it's like, when a brown man is playing fucking George Washington, so just throwing that out there. I just had that on my notes. I'm still left leaning, what I'm saying? I'm not against, I saw something, and I don't know if I saw it or for something, I don't know if I thought it up myself or and I've always been, and I'll say that, like I mentioned, that I'm not for defunding the police. I'm for defending the police, and I'm surprised that hasn't been like that hasn't become a bigger like a thing, like a slogan. Defend the police, because and I also don't want to be lumped in with fucking. I don't want to be lumped in with like fucking MAGA hat wearing assholes. But you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, do police departments need a shake up, and do they need do they need attrition, and do they need training, proper training, and stuff like that? Absolutely. But to defund the police is a stupid fucking idea. Do we put more money towards yes, put money towards social programs and stuff like that? Absolutely. But to take power, to take away money from the police is like. And of course, look, cops don't need a fucking tank, and they don't need, now, that being said, you don't need a second tank. Give them tactical gear, absolutely. But it's the same thing, the military has every year. They're so used to hitting that fucking budget that they end up buying shit that's like, when you have officers that are supposed to be community policing dressed up like they're going to fucking war. Now, don't get me wrong. They absolutely should have that equipment, but they had that equipment. Okay, a bulletproof vest is a bulletproof vest, and that'll last you a couple of years. They don't. It's like I said, it's that military thing where if they don't hit their budget every year, they lose their budget. What I'm saying? So like they end up getting cops shit that look like they're going into a fucking war zone, and maybe that money should be spent towards community programs and stuff like that, but you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give the cops all the protection they need, but to say defund the police, like there's people who actually out there who say like, yes, let's abolish the fucking police, let's get rid of them, let's have people fucking police themselves, and I'm like, you're living in a fucking fantasy world. This shit ain't gonna fucking happen. But go on, I'm sorry.
So I mean, I guess we didn't really talk about this on the last podcast. So obviously, I'm an intelligent person, so I do research on things before I open my fucking mouth and look like an idiot. So when somebody says defund the police or dismantle the police department or what's the other word I'm thinking? Whatever you're using in this, the movement altogether is to try to make these police departments better and to make them and to take things away from them that they shouldn't be doing. And the funny thing is there are people that are hardcore like, no, we're going to dismantle the police. No, you're not. Even Democrats are like, no, you're not. You're not doing that. You're not going to be dismantling any police department. You're not going to be doing anything of the sort. We're going to improve the police departments, yes, but we're not going to do that because here's the thing. Should policemen be doing mental health checks? No. That should be somebody that is trained in mental health. So while I agree that an officer should go with somebody, that mental health person should be in charge of that situation. And then if the cop needs to step in and probably use a taser, for example, in that kind of situation, yeah, step them in, have them come step in, do their job, and it's done the proper way. So basically what we're saying with this kind of movement is to take things away from the police department that they shouldn't be doing so they can concentrate on their actual jobs. Now, if we're talking about taking money away, I agree that if a department doesn't need something and they're just getting money for no reason, then yeah, you can take it away. But in these troubled schools where these cops are obviously necessary, why are we removing them from these high schools? There's a reason they were there in the first place. It wasn't to intimidate anybody. It was to keep the peace in those schools. So now you're going to take all the police away from, for example, like the football games that they were having at the high schools, which they probably won't have it this year, but you get what I'm saying, Chris? Like, you go into that situation, like, I don't know if you pay attention to the news here, but every time that there's a football game over there at East High School, for example, there's fights. There's fights, and the police have to come anyway, so why not have the police there? You know what I mean? I get what we're trying to do, that some people are intimidated by the police, but we also have to do this in an intelligent way. What can we do that makes more sense, and what do we not need to do? What do we not need to take away? It just, in my mind, makes more sense to do it that way. You know what I mean? So, and I think, and by the way, that's nothing, this shouldn't have anything to do with race. This shouldn't have anything to do with, I'm taking one side or the other. I'm just saying what it should be. And this is exactly what it should be. You know what I mean, Chris? Like, we should be doing these things because it makes sense. We should be doing these things in an intelligent way. Because here's the problem. These last couple weekends, Chris, we had 6 shootings in the last weekend, and we had like 16 over the July 4th weekend. Like, people are emboldened now. People are like, I'm just going to go out and start doing shit now because the police can't do shit.
Yeah.
And that's wrong. So I just feel like we need to approach this in the appropriate way, in an intelligent way, and in a way that makes sense, not just take money away from a department because people are bitching. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's where I think we're going to fail in this effort. So, and by the way, I don't think Democrats are going to defund the police like Trump's trying to make it out to be. They're not going to defund the police. They're going to make them better, and that's what should happen. And the one example that I use all the time, I talk about this all the fucking time, that people in the South think that it's just as racist up here in the North. Is there racism up here in the North? Yes. Is it anywhere near as bad down in the South? No. It's more of the silent racism. Has it been a little bit more emboldened because Trump is president? Yeah. But at the end of the day, Chris, it's better up here. There's a reason why the Atlanta PD comes up here and literally hires people to work down there for the Atlanta PD. There's a reason they do that. It's not because they just go, well, you know what? I think Rochester would be a great place to get people. No. They do that because the people up here are trained properly to do their jobs. And that's just how it is. Yeah. So, let's approach this in the appropriate way. Let's do it the right way. And let's not overthink what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is make the police departments better. if you take shit away from them that they actually need, you're not making the police departments better, you're making them worse. So let's do this in an intelligent way. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. All right. And are you familiar at all with the band Great White?
I know the name.
Because they were playing a show in West Warwick. I'm sorry, not West Warwick. In one of the Dakotas. I forgot if it was North Dakota, South Dakota. And they had it's metal show, heavy metal or glam rock from the 80s, playing a show, no social distancing, no masks, no nothing. And I don't know if you remember Great White years ago, they were playing a show, and that's where I got the West Warwick. They were playing in Rhode Island years ago, and they were playing this little fucking tiny ass club, and they decided to have pyrotechnics in the club, and they ended up burning the fucking place to the ground where people got killed. And it's weird that fucking Great White are now playing they're playing a show without masks and stuff like that. After their fucking history with that fire in the club in Rhode Island, they're really fucking hedging their bets by doing a show with no masks and no social distancing and stuff like that. It's kind of being selfish in my opinion. But that's all I have with my notes, unless you had anything else you wanted to talk about.
No, not really.
All right, so let's wrap this up. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.com and .net for all things show related. If anything, you can, if you have an iPhone, iPad, iPod, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. Just search for Two Strangers One Podcast. If you don't have any of those devices, you could also download us on an Android device. Just use the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER, the Stitcher app for Android devices. If you don't have either, or if you want to go right to the source, you can download the episodes individually or subscribe to us on SoundCloud. Just go to SoundCloud, and once again, just search for Two Strangers One Podcast. On Stitcher, what I do, once again, it's been a while since I've been working from home for a while, so I listen to podcasts when I'm taking care of stuff around the house and stuff like that. But what I would do, I used to put it on listen later and available offline. So it would download it when you're on a Wi-Fi spot, so it doesn't kill your battery, it doesn't kill your data plan. And I would listen to it when I was driving to work, when I had to drive to work, not anymore. Right. So all the podcasts worth listening to, Kevin Smith's Smodcast, I listen to this other one called The Weekly Planet, or Paul's other baby, the Tsunami Faithful podcast, all available on the Stitcher app. Right. And it's weird, the San Diego Comic-Con, I think it's around this time, or we're getting very close to when would have been San Diego Comic-Con. And even though there was no official announcement, New York Comic-Con is obviously dead in the fucking water. If things are still crazy for San Diego Comic-Con. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's gonna fucking change in the next month and a half, what is it? No, July to August, September, something. Yeah, nothing's gonna change in the next 3 months. So, not to the point where they're gonna have Comic-Con, and even then people would be arranging stuff now 3 months ahead of time. It was shit when they arrange shit 6 months ahead of time. But when I think of the Tsunami Faithful, because it's the Tsunami Faithful that gets us into all those wonderful, wonderful venues and interviews during New York Comic-Con, and so it's sort of bumming me out that on top of all the other shit.
That's right. I'm good at my job.
On top of all the other shit that's going on this year, world's coming to an end and losing loved ones. There's also no fucking New York Comic-Con, which is that's the one thing I fucking look forward to every year. We want your money. We need your money. But until then, until I set up a Patreon, which I will set up one day, I promise. I just have so much on my fucking plate, and there's so much, once I get my shit in order, I'll set up a Patreon. But you could also like and subscribe to our show on Facebook. Just go to Facebook, search for Two Strangers One Podcast. Like this episode in particular, like this page in particular. Share it on your page. It takes 2 seconds. It's totally free on whatever social media that you use. You can just share us and say, "Hey, listen to these guys. They're pretty funny," and spread the word. I mean, even if you can't give us a dime, you can just share the podcast. If you want to write to us, which I'm really surprised, long-term fan Oscar has not written in, and I had said, before the episode, I'm like, maybe he's pulling the classy move, and he's like not going to kick me when I'm down. And Paul's like, don't give him that much credit. I'm really surprised because, like I said, he's written in the past how like he hated that episode with Layla and stuff like that. So I don't know if he's being classy by not writing in, or he's just not listening anymore. But if you want to write in like Oscar used to, you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com, all spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at Stranger Podcasts. So if you want to tweet at us, I so rarely check it. That's my fault. And I'll know because when I check the email for Oscar, then the emails will also let me know what Twitter activity we have. And if you go on SoundCloud, the episodes only go back about 2 or 3 years. You can go back and catch all 8 years worth of the podcast. All the other any episodes that's not on SoundCloud will be on YouTube. Just go on YouTube, search for Two Strangers One Podcast, and on there you can find links to my audiobook, Odd I See a Tale from the Road. You can find links to my music that I have made under my pseudonym XLNYC. And once again, like 5 years worth of podcasts are all available on YouTube. Just search for Two Strangers One Podcast. And that's all I can think of. I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
All right, so you can find us. You can find me, I should say, on Twitter at Pulpskrillo. You can email me, pulpskrillo@ToonamiFaithful.com. And if you are part of the Discord, the Toonami Faithful Discord, you can find us there. Find me there at Pulpskrillo. I'm losing my mind. It's that late at night. So,
well, we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening, as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace.
Bye. You should be fapping.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
yeah,
man.
Is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. And if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonePodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonePodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.